Hello, everybody. Hi, and welcome to our second Overwatch developer live stream. Happy to have you all here. And yes, as previously mentioned, indeed we are live. So for anybody that was asking, are we? Yes, we are. Right now, our community team wanted to take a second to say thanks for coming by. Ready to talk mythics, mythic skins, all that good stuff. But I just want to take a second and introduce our host for today's stream, which is not me today. It is going to be the amazing and undeniably talented Overwatch tech artist, Ana Martinez. So without more ado, I am going to throw it over to the studio and to Ana there, who will be able to introduce everybody else.
Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching, and welcome to the Overwatch 2 Developer Livestream July Deep Dive. It's a bit of a long name, it's maybe still in progress, so we can just call it the July Deep Dive. Megan already kind of introduced me, but I'll do a bit of a formal introduction in a couple minutes. But hi, my name is Ana. I'll be your host for today, and I think we can just kind of get straight to it. So on our last live stream, we had Megan, Alec, and George talk about map voting, map rework, and new maps coming into the game. Now for today, we'll be talking about something a little different, and I hope you're all excited about that. Today, we'll be talking about mythic skins, more specifically, Season 18 mythics, or the one mythic that we have for Season 18. We're going to be going over every single step that goes into making a mythic, from the beginning, ideation and concept, to when it actually gets to your hands, to the players. We're very, very excited to be talking about this because it's not very often that we can just talk about the process. Three of us, the very lovely people that we have here right now, are artists like myself. And just me talking about this stuff might be a little boring, so that's why they're here with me. So if you guys would please introduce yourselves, say something fun, I don't know, your name, what do you do, something cool that you worked on in the team, and who your main is in Overwatch.
My name is Angelica Silva. I am an associate VFX artist, and I was the mythic artist for the mythic that we're talking about today. I also worked on Doki Watch Juno. I'm the one that gave Juno the heart ring. And I main Junkrat. I'm a stinky little Junkrat main.
That's awesome. I'm Dion Rogers, the art director for Overwatch. And Reinhardt is my main. He's one of my favorite characters in the game. And I worked on the lighting for Hanamura. It's one of my favorite maps that I worked on Overwatch 1 a long time ago. So it was nice to see the update with the Hanaoka Clash version of that theme. So it was near and dear to me, this thing. But currently the games I'm playing is Expedition 33. Enjoy that game very much.
I'm also playing Expedition 33.
Oh,
I think I forgot to say that.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask that anyway.
Oh, okay.
That was a follow-up question.
Yes.
You guys, you're going off the script. By the way, this is live. There's not really a script. We're just kind of talking. But I was going to ask you guys, what are you playing? So Expedition 33.
Yes. Knee deep in this game. Love it very much.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're also playing Expedition 33, Angelica?
I am, yeah. I'm only in the beginning though, so
No
not very far. No spoilers,
No
please.
spoilers, no
Yes.
spoilers. And as a quick kind of fuller introduction, my name is Ana Martinez. I'm a character technical artist on the team. I worked on a bunch of stuff over the years, legendaries, mythics, and heroes. My favorite thing to have worked on is not released yet, so unfortunately I can't talk about it. But my second favorite thing is just every mythic that I worked on. I am a part-time talker, as you can tell. I'm a full-time annoying Lucio main. That statue over there is mine. It's on my desk so that everybody remembers who I am, which everyone on the team does, because I only play Lucio and Zenyatta. And I'll be your host for today. So thank you for being here with me, guys, today, so I'm not just by myself talking about stuff.
Thank you, Ana.
So I think we can just get right to it. So
Yeah.
as we said before, we're talking about the Season 18 Mythic, which I don't think we've shared much about. So right now we're going to be sharing a lot more about. You guys are going to get a pretty unique look into this Mythic specifically, because we'll be talking about how it was made, which we don't really get to do often on our regular, dev update formats or our director's stakes on our weekly recall. We've really looked forward to doing these sorts of things because everyone in the art team is always itching to talk about art.
And we need to do it more.
And we need to do it more. We're always like, let's just talk. Like, we talk so much amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And there's so much that we would love to share with everybody that now that we get the chance, we'll try to keep it brief. We'll try to keep it short. But if we don't, we have we have the people that are behind the camera, the very, very nice folks that are keeping us on time. So let's get right to it. So for the Mythic reveal, I think I'll throw it to Dion. Please go ahead and share.
The next Mythic will be Sojourn.
We get some pictures. There you go. There she is.
Beautiful.
Beautiful skin that the team worked on. The name is the
Ultraviolet Sentinel.
Yes. So we had a lot of fun working on this one, and we're here to talk about all the details that went into it.
Yeah. So I think we can start with kind of the idea of the theme. So we have a hero, we have a theme. How do we get to what we're going to do for a Mythic?
Okay, usually we start with, like with any hero, it's about the fantasy of the hero. Like, what's it like to play this hero? What are their powers and things that go into it? So with Sojourn, she's like this awesome, heroic leader in the team. She's got an amazing railgun. She's kind of a railgun fantasy for the game for all the Quake fans and things out there. And so we thought about what's the maximum version of her fantasy if we were to elevate it. She's half cyborg. If we were to push that even further than we did with the base hero, what could that look like? And so we pass this over to the concept art team, and they start to ideate on this. So the Ultraviolet Sentinel is the kind of the fantasy of Sojourn pushed to its maximum. Just beautiful, gorgeous cyborg. With an amazing railgun.
Totally. What made you look forward to working on this skin the most, like for both of you?
Oh man, honestly, probably just like the VFX in general, the concept.
Can we see more images of
Yeah, can we
Sojourn?
see more?
Yeah, I think we can start putting maybe the concept for the skin maybe on screen so that everybody can see it.
Yeah.
But you can keep talking about
Yeah, I think just the VFX in general, like the concept artist, Angela Song killed it.
She crushed
Like,
it.
Shout out
she
Angela.
Crushed it. And it was just, at first glance, I was like, oh my gosh, like I cannot wait to work on this. Like I have so many ideas running through my head. The colors are so fun and vibrant. And yeah, I just couldn't wait to just like make Sojourn look even more awesome than she already is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, this is the final concept where we landed with her. And so you have this nice, beautiful pearlescent material on the white parts of our armor. The cool kind of ethereal, what is it, the VFX?
it's like the emissive, like this, like the the ethereal emissive glow.
Yeah. When you think about Sojourn and when you think about the theme that we landed on with her, when working on her, what did you want to highlight about her the most?
Just how powerful she is, how cool she is. Like, I think that I wanted her to look really cool, really strong. Like, I want players to feel like they're this like Sentinel cyborg superhero, like
An ultraviolet Sentinel.
And that was just my main goal throughout the whole process of designing her kit for her VFX. I just want players to feel like the fantasy that we want Sojourn to have.
I like how it feels like there's these neural implants on her, almost obviously a very cyberpunk or feeling to it. It just boosts the cyborg layer of her even more.
Totally. Totally. So I think something fun that I figured we could do is to go, like I said in the intro, through every single step of the Mythic development process. So making a Mythic requires a bunch of people and it requires a bunch of time.
Yeah.
We couldn't really fit everybody that worked on the Mythic in this room because it
We
would
would
be
need a lot of couches.
we would need a whole lot of couches. So to keep things kind of concise, we're here and we're kind of representing everyone else that worked on. We are going to be talking about the art side of Mythic development since we are, well, artists. And for everybody that worked on the Mythic that is not here, I have here in my handy dandy tablet some little details, little tidbits of information of their respective parts of their development that I will be reading out as proxy. So to kind of outline what we're going to be talking about today is that we can kind of divide the art side of Mythic development in 8 very large steps or pillars. And in order-ish, kind of, sort of, we'll go into that a little bit later. We can see it as, the first step is the ideation and concept art. Second step is the narrative design, the fantasy of the hero. The third step is a 3D model. Fourth step is tech art. Fifth step is animation. Sixth step is VFX. Seventh step is audio design. And eighth step is polish and QA. And QA stands for quality assurance, which is all the folks that help us make sure that there's no funky stuff happening when we actually launch it into the game. And between all those steps, there's a lot of support that we receive from tools, from engineering. Honestly, they are the real heroes of this story. Without engineering and all our friends and coworkers that work on like our engine and tools and everything, we would not be able to do anything. So shout out engineering. And there's a lot of people that work after that to, bring all stuff like this, like the live stream, together. So I think we can jump into the first step, which is ideation and concept art, which we've already covered a little bit and you can see on the screen. So concept art goes through a lot of changes from when we decide on a theme and then when we get to the final. How do you decide, oh, this is it? Like, this is the final thing that we're gonna be going for.
And the concept art team is amazing. We do drawings first because 3D, it gets a little bit more expensive. It's harder to undo some of the work once we get into 3D. So we do a lot of 2D sketches first, as you guys know, to see lots of ideas quickly. Sometimes we focus on humorous ideas, or we might go for more fun ideas, or this one we want to drive the fantasy more. So we settled on, for Sojourn, is let's push the cybernetic warrior fantasy that she is, and we continue to draw from there. And so things we think about are the colors that represent the character, what makes it unique compared to the base hero. And so once we start to see designs like this, so this was one of the sketches that's on screen now that we saw, and it felt, okay, there's something here, this kind of saturated colors that was in her accent colors on her hair, but then the sleek body armor felt like the right thing to drive into more. But the tone of Overwatch is a pretty bright world, so this was one of the selections. So we decided, like, oh, what's it look like if we went even brighter with the hero, and that what led to the second concept. Not the second one, but one of the iterations that she's in the white armor. Maybe we can show that one on screen currently. So, keeping with the tone of Overwatch, this bright, hopeful world, what is this elevated version of her if she was, set in the world of Overwatch, obviously. And so that's why we went with this more bright look. And I think Angelica had the cool ideas with the VFX. There's a bit of the like electronic dance music kind of feel to it.
A little bit, yeah. Like, I really wanted to lean into that, like, techie, like, you see the little square techie bits. Like, I really wanted to lean into that with her kit, because, like, well, Overwatch has a lot of squares, like little square stuff, like in the UI and like just in general. It's pretty common to see in the shape language for Overwatch, but I don't think I've necessarily used like square bits, like we call them motes, like the little like tertiary bits that you would see on an effect, like we call them motes.
Kind of like little pieces of fire.
Yeah, like embers.
Yeah.
And in this case, in the concept, you can see those little squares. I was like, I really want to lean into that. And the thing that I was also excited about is you notice that a lot of her stuff is two-toned. And the way that I guess the way we color things, like we usually use a grayscale and we would, I guess, put like it's called a color ramp over it. And it's a gradient. So getting this like graphic two-toned color was a little bit of a challenge, but it was so satisfying. It was something I was looking forward to when I saw the concept. I was like, I can't wait to get this like two-toned, like blue, purple, and this beautiful magenta.
So technically, the actual brunt of the VFX work comes a little bit later down the pipeline.
It does.
How are you as a VFX artist interacting with the concept art team on a Mythic?
It really depends on the Mythic. Sometimes I don't get in until like after the concepts are done, but sometimes I'm lucky enough to be able to get in as they're like designing the VFX. In Sojourn's case, Angela had already done the VFX, but our amazing, talented concept artist that she is, like the VFX look great. Do we have the VFX concepts that we could show? It'd be...
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, if not, I can explain in the best way that I can, but she went with a very graphic look, very 2D, very graphic. Overwatch uses a lot of like 3D models, something that's like very fleshed out, and this time around it was just very graphic, and that's something that we don't usually get to lean in on too much. And so when I saw that Angela had already done that, I was like, oh wow, same page. We're on the same page. For Juno, I was in there early enough to work with the concept artist on her.
For Juno's Mythic.
For Juno's Mythic, yeah. And that we had a little bit more back and forth when she was designing the VFX for it.
For Doki Watch, right?
For Doki Watch, yeah. And we were able to like go back and forth with her and like let her know like, oh, this is actually how the ability works in the gameplay, like her torpedoes, for example. We're using, I believe, like 2 different shapes in the concept for her muzzle flash, but we had to let her know like, oh, actually they're gonna have to be the same. And also like it works like this and like that. And then she was able to go in and fix that. And it gave us a really good baseline to start with.
Yeah.
It's what I love about Mythic Skins. You get a chance to revisit the VFX in a way, right?
Yeah.
Nearly all the VFX for a hero.
Yeah,
from their primary fire to their ambient effects.
Oh yeah. No, like we touched the whole kit.
Yeah.
We'll go into every single effect when we get to effects.
Yeah, okay.
Pause.
I gotta wait. I gotta be
Pause. You
patient.
gotta wait a little bit. So speaking of Angela, she had a couple of things to share with everybody about when she was designing her. So I'll read as if I was her, so imagine I'm her. I think from my POV, when I was designing her, I envisioned her as a stunning yet powerful being. So she had a short description on her concept as she was designing her to kind of have an idea of what to aim for. Sojourn chose the only path she knew. The transformation was more than metal and wires. Neural uplinks sharpened her reflexes beyond human limits. Its energy flowing through her like a second heartbeat. She's faster, stronger, but the line between human and machine blurred with every upgrade. She fights not just to win, but to prove one thing. She is not just a weapon, she's Sojourn.
Yeah, I love it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
Sojourn.
gosh. She is such a cool character, man.
I love how artists get really into it.
Yeah. After she sent me a message, she was like, this might be a little too dramatic. And I was like, no. It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
So I think that's a good point to jump to narrative, which shout out Jude Stacy was the narrative designer for this Mythic specifically. So I think before talking about narrative for our sides, I would love to read the little blurb that will accompany her on the hero gallery, if I may.
Yeah.
So this will be the little text that will be
Can
on
we show
her hero
the
gallery.
3D model?
Yeah. Maybe we can show the 3D model when we get to the model, which is like the next step.
Okay.
But just kind of to get an idea of what you're going to see in the model. So Jude Stacy leaned more into the over-the-top superhero. So the blurb is, Sojourn is a hero already, but she's pretty modest and focused on the job. And oh wait, no, this is not the blurb. Sorry, this is a little description. Sojourn is a hero already, but she's pretty modest and focused on the job, and has a military background that keeps her grounded. So when the Mythic was like, how do we take the visual cyber fantasy of Sojourn and turn it up? Narrative did the same, angling for a version of Sojourn that is outwardly super heroic and ready to stand as not just a leader, but like a symbol of hope for the people. So I'm curious about something, Dion. When working on a Mythic, from the ground up, when does narrative work on kind of the fantasy first and then concept gets involved, or is it concept and then narrative kind of builds from that concept, or do they happen at the same time?
Right. We started this back in October, right?
I think so, yeah.
Back in October last year.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Oh, wow. Actually, any idea on the team can come from anywhere. So sometimes it might start with concept art. Sometimes it may come from a narrative person. Or it might come from any of you guys with the idea. So this one in particular, we started to draw the coolest thing first, And so once we settled on what she potentially could look like, then we start to share it downstream to like narrative team or others. But I don't think there's a set path for how we come up with the idea. Anyone on the team can just walk in the room and say, hey, I got an idea.
I have $1 million idea.
Right.
It's going to sell. We're going to have such a great time.
Angela Song, who did the concept art, it's generally her idea. So
shout out Angela.
She crushed it. So
shout out Angela Song.
It drove a lot of the decisions after
I hope you're watching it. We're talking really nice things about you.
After she completed the concept art.
Yeah. It's like, well, okay.
That drove a lot of the decision making.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a cool idea, you build from that idea.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Cool. So now I think the next step that I said would be modeling, and I think now we can jump to the 3D model, and I can read the little blurb that we have for it. So if we could show kind of like in the hero gallery, kind of like the little, oh my gosh, look at her.
Awesome.
Look at her. So, in a fallen future without heroes, there was only one who could rise up against the specter of war. Using cutting-edge cyber light tech, Sojourn transformed herself into the ultraviolet sentinel, a shining figure that inspired others to join the fight.
Yeah.
That's cool. Oh my God, that's so cool.
Megan.
Megan Stewart. Yes.
I would join her fight.
Yeah, I would join her.
I would fight alongside her. Yeah, Megan Stewart. She did the model.
Shout out Megan Stewart.
Beautiful, talented, amazing Megan Stewart.
First Mythic. Megan's first Mythic. Shout out Megan.
Killed it.
Great job.
Absolutely
so good.
Killed it. Oh my gosh.
Do we have a zoomed out of her?
Yeah. Could we have kind of like a
kind of
like
rotation?
the full body? I think we have the video. But in the meantime, we can start talking about kind of what modeling is. So after we have the concept, like the finalized concept, our modeling artists can start, grabbing that, and then the character starts taking shape in a 3D space, 3D model, and all that stuff. So when we have a 2D design, transforming it or kind of translating it in a way into 3D, are there any changes that we would ever make when maybe something looks cool in 2D but it doesn't work in 3D?
Sometimes you can do things in 2D that's just really difficult to achieve in 3D, and there's a bit more stylization to the character in 2D than versus 3D. But I think 3D also showcases better as the material quality of things. For example, our armor looks a lot more pearlescent. You can see the essence of it in the 2D drawing. But once we get into the game engine and we're able to play with the shaders, we're able to really push this kind of a nice pearl look within her armor. The carbon fiber parts in kind of the negative space between her legs and the joints of her powers, and even her hair having this nice soft look to it. That's what's fun about actually translating the 2D to 3D. You really start to get the volume of the shapes, and it comes to life in this way. And then VFX, you see them animated, right? You start to see how the VFX will feel or how the motion will be. I really love this color too.
That color is so cool. I think that specific hairstyle and the color are probably my favorite combination. Like, oh my God,
I think this colorway was my favorite one to work on
it is,
for her ambient.
It is
was
so cool.
So fun.
So Angelica, for still VFX technically doesn't fully get involved, but when you're working with modeling, are there any like parts of the model that you request something different that they do?
Yeah, so if we can, I guess this is okay too,
Is there
to
a
look
VFX
at.
version of this?
But you see her collar, and in the, oh, this is perfect. Yeah, so like this is her final leveled up look with the VFX. So when Megan is modeling and she's in low poly, that's when I would go to her and I'm like, hey, we're gonna need meshes for her coattails to work on and her collar. And it's a little harder to see because it's zoomed out, but there's also meshes on her left shoulder. And there's also meshes on her right shoulder with the like wires going over into her arm. That has the same type of noise and like erosion that you see on the coattails and on the collar. And like that's when we would talk about like, okay, like we need meshes for this. She asked if I needed meshes for the Sojourn's like flares on her legs, and this time I told her no, I told her no, like, you know, that's something that we can handle ourselves. But when modeling's in the low poly phase, that's when you want to let them know like what kind of meshes you would need for VFX, because then they can keep into account like poly count. They could take it to high poly and like they know it's there, and it's easier to add it in early than add it in late.
To add a little clarity, by the way, for the folks watching, on Overwatch, the modeling team kind of divides the stages of working on a model in kind of bite-sized-ish parts. When we tech artists get involved in the process, or at one point in the model, sometimes things might not work in 3D. So there needs to be a lot of changes sometimes to be made. In that case, the modeling team works on the 3D equivalent of like a sketch that can be quick and easy to kind of edit in case we need any changes, so that they don't spend months and months and months working on something and then they give it to the next person in the pipeline and it's like, oh, this doesn't work.
This, yeah.
Yeah, which would suck. It would not be super great if we needed to do that. So they work on kind of like the sketch version of the model. Then we see how it works in game. We see if it works well. We see what works. We see what doesn't. And then when everybody, you know, says yes to it, then it goes to kind of the more of the final look. And that takes a long time between the, you know, beautiful meshes or the beautiful kind of parts of the character that you see in the game, and, you know, the beautiful textures and everything else. That goes through a lot of kind of filters between a lot of people, including us tech artists, that we, you know, say yes or no. We'll go into a little more detail on like what exactly tech art does when in regards to Mythics or skins in general. But what Angelica was saying on low poly and high poly, in few words, it's kind of like if you take the sketch that you did of an illustration and then you start adding like the final touches, like the colors, I don't know, line art, or like whatever else, whatever whatever kind of, you know, art that you're working on. In those stages, it's a little harder to make changes, so that's why we make sure that everything is good on the sketch part.
Yes, right.
We make sure that as many things as possible are good on the sketch part, because afterwards changing it might be very difficult.
Time-consuming, yeah.
Yeah, very time-consuming, time that we might as well spend on something else, a little more productive.
Making more Mythics.
And once we get more into more of a deep dive on the VFX part, I can go into how, at least for VFX, that's not necessarily the case all the time.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But I can go more into that.
Yeah, pause. Not yet, pause.
Gotta stop yapping.
But yeah, that's basically what kind of she was talking about between low poly, high poly, and blockout. In very few words. Explaining the ins and outs of modeling might be, I wouldn't be the best person because I'm not a modeler. But maybe in the future we can talk a little bit more about it. I was gonna ask something else. Oh, so I have some more tidbits of info about the skin from Megan Stewart. Shout out Megan. I hope you're watching too.
Shout out Megan.
Sojourn in general has a lot of moving pieces that pop out and animate, so learning what all moves and how it moves was something I definitely had to keep an eye out for when modeling. Her arm mechanics, for example, are so much more complex than it seems. At her armor's level 3, one of her forearm panels remains slotted open with a cable that connects it to her internal forearm mechanics. This was interesting to test because it leaves those internal mechanics exposed and still opens further during her animations. This skin in particular has so many different pieces that made her textures and material super fun to work on. A lot of the armor uses some cool material breakups to give it a pearlescent sheen effect. I used the combination of creating a hybrid material that also layers our clear coat shader on top to change how the light bounces off the surface. The cables use a VFX shader that has scrolling emissive color. One of my favorite parts for this skin is probably how her eye color changes for the color variations too. Now I think a chunk of the second part might be a lot to, to take in if you're not familiar with like 3D texture kind of lingo. But something that I can also speak on the tech art side is that Sojourn has a lot of pieces when she just does anything. And figuring out how to make a new design work with already existing animations is one of the duties of tech art. And that also applies to VFX, that when we're working on something that already exists, we want to make something that looks new, that looks fresh, but it's still clear to players on like what exactly it is. You know?
That's what makes Sojourn fun, because of the kind of cyborg fantasy she has. So there's a lot of moving parts when she does her slide ability. It just these jets open up, and I think the VFX, especially in the Mythic skin, showcase this very well, how agile she is and the speed she has in the game. That's Cyber Warrior.
Yeah,
Cyber Warrior,
Ultraviolet Sentinel.
Ultraviolet Sentinel.
So the fifth step would be tech art, which we're talking about now, which I am a tech artist. I didn't personally work on this skin. Shout out John Curran, who worked on the skin. Shout out John.
Can you explain really quickly, a tech artist, what you're...
Oh, yes, sorry. So tech art in Team 4, in the Overwatch team, is kind of a combination of a bunch of different disciplines condensed into one. In few words, we do something that is called rigging, we do simulation, we do game implementation, we do a little scripting, and we do a little of a bunch of other things. When it comes to Mythics, we take the 3D model that we get from the modeling team, and then we put it in the game. That's kind of the fewest words that I can explain.
Yeah.
Like I said before, like a minute ago, one of our responsibilities is making sure that what we get from the modeling team works with everything else that exists already within the game. So if you think of skins, you are still playing the character. Like when you select Sojourn, you are playing Sojourn, right? When you select the Mythic of Sojourn, you're still playing Sojourn. Right. So the animations of her abilities are going to be the same regardless of whether you pick another skin, if you pick the Mythic, or if you pick, the regular skins, whatever else. So what we have to do as tech artists is that we have to take the new models that we get from the modeling team. When we put it into the game, we see in 3D what works and what doesn't. A good kind of very broad example of this would be like, let me think. So if this Mythic's, if this Mythic had in the concept, say, a very big shoulder pad on one of the sides of the body, if it somehow made it through the filters of concept art and modeling and everything else, when we put it in the game, when tech art puts it in the game, we would pretty much very quickly notice that shoulder pad might be clipping into her head, which is something that we definitely don't want. So all these filters of what things we want to have on skins and what we don't want to have on skins is something that concept art is very much aware of, modeling is very much aware of, and we have guidelines on what things work on heroes and what doesn't work on heroes. But if there is like a chance of something going through, then we are the ones to call it out. So for Sojourn, what Megan was talking about is that she has on both of her arms actually pieces that open and close and move a lot together. If those pieces aren't kind of built in a specific way, then when they move around, they might not look good. It might look like they're kind of clipping into each other or just not working at all, especially I think on first person on her E ability. I'm really bad at remembering like names of abilities. We just call them like shift or E.
It's her damage grenade.
Yeah, the damage grenade, thank you. So on her damage grenade, her hand kind of like opens downwards, and then like it shoots out, right? If those panels don't slot correctly in the model, then when they are actually moving, then you'll notice that they're not slotting correctly. Right. Which the less you notice, on a new skin, the less you notice something is wrong, the better. which is why we kind of put so much time into, on the tech art side, that like when you have a new design like the Mythic, we want to sell the fantasy of this is a new thing that we're doing, this is a new design, this is a new idea, but it also has to work with everything else that we already have. Yeah, that's kind of the rundown of tech art. Something cool also that we or that John did for this skin is that on her third person you can see kind of some wisps, like wispy thingies on the back. Those are very interesting tech, actually. It's interesting, but it's also extremely common. They're actually cloth. It's the same tech that we use for...
Like a scarf or...
Yeah, like scarves or capes
capes
or skirts. Yeah. We use a lot of the tech that we have for specific things. We found ways to use them for other completely different things. As long as it looks cool, as long as it works, as long as it doesn't break anything, then we use it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can solve a lot of issues that could be like a problem if we have like a shoulder pad thing. We could use some tech art magic to make sure that that shoulder pad doesn't clip into the head. So the things that Sojourn has on her back are very long pieces of cloth that are influenced by like invisible wind. So that's why they do kind of this. They float a little bit and
they
follow
always
around.
move whether there's wind or
Exactly,
not. Right? Yeah.
exactly. They have kind of something called like self-wind. So we have like the cloth here. We set kind of where the wind is coming from, which would be like maybe over here. It pushes on this direction and maybe to the side, maybe up. Yeah, those wispy little things. Thank you, Katie. Shout out, Katie. They kind of move. They're always moving kind of in a very cool way, even when you're moving around and jumping around. So yeah, that's a little bit of tech art magic. Yeah.
And it's cool to what you mentioned that people may not know. Our maps have wind in them. There's a direction that wind comes from, so it causes things to blow, like our flags and or cloth or fabrics that are inside a map. And so it's cool that tech art can kind of override the world's wind to make something like her kind of a ethereal scarf
Yeah, totally.
blow in its own direction. It gives it this kind of a unique look.
Tech art works very closely with modeling and also concept, because what we that little guy was trying to go through. Oh my God. Whatever we say yes to is what eventually kind of goes into. Oh, that's perfect. A little loop. What we say yes to eventually goes into final, and then a couple steps after it does get to Angelica's team. But I think before going into VFX, we can talk about animation, which I think the coolest part about her, and something that I learned about like 2 days ago from Angelica, was something cool in the hero select. If we could kind of see the hero select, if that's cool. But now we will be jumping into animation, and as we kind of load it up, we can kind of give a little more context for this. So for every Mythic hero that we have, or for every Mythic skin that we have, we make a unique hero select for kind of following the theme. Do you kind of like, how is that ideated? Like, how do you decide what to go for the hero select animation?
Generally, it's another one that we send out to the team. But the baseline idea is to showcase something unique about the Mythic. So in this case, you're seeing the very cool VFX on her railgun. And you get a little glimpse of seeing the full body, the torso at least, of the character. It doesn't cover it too much. So generally the animators come up with an idea that against the fantasy of the hero. So in this case, it was a lot of her cybernetic VFX or the cool pearlescent armor, so we wanted to be able to have that very visible when you see her in her hero select, and then she settles into her base pose. But this one, there's another one that's not really set. It's just we look for ideas across the team, and whatever jumps out, we start to do.
Yeah, totally. So Angelica, you mentioned something that you did specifically for this hero select. Can you kind of just go into more detail about that?
Yeah. So when we got into the hero select, I had noticed after I put my effects in, after she puts her gun in her hands, my effects would turn off. And the reason for that is because originally there wasn't, so animation has, in the most simplest terms, and I'm also sorry if I like get any of this wrong. I am not an animator. This is just my basic bare understanding, but maybe eventually we'll have an animator on here that can go more in depth. But animations have intros, loops, and outros, and they also have fidgets. And what she's doing right now, I believe, is a fidget. The hero select animation didn't have a fidget or like this like loop for her to keep
to settle
on. And so when she starts, the hero select starts and she like charges up her gun. When she is about to put it in her hand, my VFX turned off. And so I had to ask about it. I was like, hey, like, could we add something so that the effects can keep staying on? And the animation was like, yeah, that's easy, we'll do it. And they added in the fidget for the weapon and for her. So her weapon has a fidget animation and Sojourn has a fidget animation. And so that worked a little bit because then when she put her gun in her hand, my effects did somewhat stay on, but like in the frame where for like a few frames after she puts the gun in her hand, the effects just turned off and then turned back on, and then it would go into this. And then it would turn off and turn on and turn off and turn on. And I was like, okay, how do we solve this? This is a pretty common issue we have with animation and VFX, where the effects don't continuously loop like this. But we wanted to make this work really badly because like her railgun is like,
it's just a big part of her.
It's right there. And also, what is Sojourn without her railgun? And we don't always get to show off the weapon in the hero select. So we were like, we need to like figure this out. Like we really want to have the VFX on there. And so engineering, shout out engineering, had to, I'm not an engineer either. So I actually don't know the technical term of like exactly what they did, but to me, it's like they jerry-rigged a way for the effects to stay on. Like long story short, this was like a few weeks of back and forth of trying to get this to work. But they figured out a way to like keep the effects on completely through the animation. So like when she charges up her railgun, and then she like puts it in her hand, the effects do not turn off on her gun. And it just like really made the hero select. I don't think it would have been as awesome without it.
No, I agree. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really proud of how this turned out. She just looks so awesome and heroic and cool, and like it just, yeah, really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think this is a very special moment for you, Angelica, because we're going to the next step, which is VFX.
Ooh, yay.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk about
so
VFX.
Please nerd out about it.
Okay.
So what can you tell me about something cool that you worked on? I mean, all this is very cool. Yeah. But like anything, what do you want to say about this?
Well, I worked on her entire kit. From her abilities to her gun to her ambient.
Primary fire.
Yeah. My lead worked on the shader for her cape and her collar.
Super quick question. What's a shader?
A shader.
And like a simple.
The way that you are viewing this live stream, I believe, on your computer is because of a shader. Like computers have shaders. Like that's the reason why like displays can work like on your computer. But like for us, like it's just shaders are this. It's like black magic a little bit.
Put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shader is basically the materials in the game.
Yeah, it's the materials in the game.
It makes things feel like jeans. It makes things feel like leather. It makes things feel pearlescent.
Yeah.
Or ethereal, like these.
Yeah, they're just ways
VFX.
for us to push our effects. But yeah, they are also like extremely technical and like it's the reason why like games even run to begin with. What was I saying?
You were talking about. Sorry, I think I derailed it slightly by asking what a shader is.
Your lead was working on the collar. And
but other than the collar and the coattails and stuff, I touched her entire kit. And so I start with looking at the concepts. I don't think we have a screenshot of Angela's VFX concepts. If we do, are we able to pull that up? If not, it's completely okay. I'll just, I can use my words. But
what inspiration you drove some of the ideas?
Yeah,
from
like,
VFX?
you know, sci-fi, like, what is it? Like RG. Oh yes,
Yeah,
this is
this is
perfect. Yes.
Oh my gosh, we do
Yeah.
have it. Yay!
Hey, I don't have to use.
You don't have to talk as much.
I don't have to describe it. You can see it. Yeah. So this is what I first saw when everything was said and done, and like this is perfect. It's amazing that VFX gets concepts to begin with. A lot of the times, VFX kind of just has to
wing it.
We have to wing it a little bit. So when concept has the time to give us concepts like this, like we are so grateful, and because it gives us a good baseline to jump off on and like keep developing her kit. And so when we do Mythic VFX, we want to start with like the thing that you're going to see the most impact in her out of all of her abilities. And for us, that was the disruptor shot. And so that was the first ability I worked on. And you can see that it's very graphic, it's very 2D, it's very flat. It's very like sci-fi HUD, like HUD, like it's and so when I went in, that's what I first started out with. I made these textures that pretty much replicated what Angela did. And once it was in game, we realized it was a little too flat. And we like to be able to flesh, like we like to have our effects feel
They have volume.
volume.
To them.
Yeah,
right.
they have volume. And so we, instead of having a flat texture facing the player, I instead made rings. I modeled out a ring in the similar shape as the concept, and I just ended up like moving them up and down.
Oh,
Like
that's
once we go
curious.
back into game, it'll be a little bit easier for me to explain. But yeah, like when I said earlier about the two-toned, like you could see it especially in the abilities, like that pink and blue, like graphic two-tone colors. We haven't done something like that before, and so I was really excited to try to push that with her kit. But yeah,
Oh no!
Can you stare at the when you come back and you stare at just the disruptor shot?
Yeah,
bit?
yeah, we could throw the disruptor shot. Okay, yeah, so this is a really, really perfect example of, at least in VFX, the concept doesn't always translate to in-game. Because once it's an engine, it can look completely different. And so, you know, we are free to make it work however we need to. And so that's what I did. I have the rings going up and down, rotating at the same time, and they have somewhat some speed to them to make them feel a little dangerous. Like this is
Yeah.
a very, like this ability is supposed to damage enemies over time. And like you want to make it look like you don't want to go in it. And so on top of the rings, I used this, it's a tool we have for VFX called an attractor. If you want to throw the disruptor shot like somewhat close to Sojourn,
Yeah,
it's
in
a little bit easier to see. Like I have all of these motes that are like swimming around like kind of viciously. Like I really wanted to sell like this is a dangerous ability. But
I love that about the VFX in general in the game. They look. If it's not safe to be in it, you guys do a great job of.
Yeah,
Don't step into this thing.
Yeah,
you know.
because even though we're like making the effect, like we're taking the base kit and like making it a mythic, we have to stick to gameplay because gameplay's king. The players need to know what's going on still. And the lines for that have blurred a bit the more we work on mythics, but overall like gameplay is king. And like I also, if you throw it on the ground again, I also designed a new decal for it. So like the decal, I wanted to try to incorporate some of Angela's graphicness, like the graphic part of the concept that she did. So I put that in the decal.
Right.
and it has this like this what is it? This cool warbly like distortion texture that's going on, like going inwards. Just to like it, you know, to make the effect feel more sci-fi, more like cybernetic. But this took a lot of iteration. It took a while. Effects, there's no such thing as a simple effect. VFX is a very complicated process, and especially when you have gameplay to think about, like there's just so much to have to balance. And you know, I had to balance like what if a player is like in it, like how busy does it look? And so when that happens, we use this thing called LODs, which are called so they're level of detail, yeah. And so the level of detail allows it so that the player doesn't have so much noise in their face. That's another thing that like we're pretty big on with Overwatch, is that the player's like vision is not disrupted in any way. Like you want to be able to see what you're shooting at. But if you see it from far away, you see all those small little details, all those little motes.
Oh, that's cool.
And but yeah, and then so after the disruptor shot, I moved on to her, I think her charge shot, I believe. This is where I really got to go crazy with like the graphicness, like being able to bring back that graphic feeling that Angela designed, because it was you know, those VFX, the muzzle flashes are right in your face, so like having it be flat wasn't so much of an issue. And if anything, it just really like sold this like this clean graphic feel. And yeah, like it was really fun to do the disruptor shot in the rings. I also changed her the projectile, I believe, but it's kind of hard to see in first person. That's something you would have to see in third person. But, and then her primary, you know, I made the primary try to fit the concept as close as possible too, like where she's just shooting. The spikes that come out, like I used a few different textures to make them feel even more graphic than the base did. I think that's the theme of this. It was graphic, it was clean, and yeah, you want to feel like you're powerful. And like when I got to the gun ambient, like I really tried to push it as much as I could with these flares. And like I think I pushed like the lights. Like we have these things called point lights. And
I love it.
Point lights. So
we
like
love point lights.
the light that you see that's like kind of on the side of her gun on the left, that's like shining, like that's called a point light. And I tried pushing those a little bit more because it would make sense that this gun would be pretty glowy. I think at some point during the development of her kit, one of my leads was like, this kit is glowy enough. This gun is glowing.
No,
like,
I think we needed more point lights, actually.
I do too. I'm always an advocate for more point lights. But yeah, and then another thing we did was that this is a very small thing, but like we changed the material on her gun when she ults. So you notice that there's this like Fresnel. So a Fresnel is like it's almost like when it's like backlit, it's like a glowiness on the edges of something. So we did that, and we also added a gradient. And you would see it in Angela's concept that was there, and we really wanted to try to, yeah, on the barrel of the gun where like the sharp edges are on the front.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so we wanted to add that in, and so we put that in, and then there's a Fresnel all over the gun, just to really make you feel like this gun's is supercharged, and Sojourn's about to kill you in one shot, like as Sojourn players do.
Nighttime maps. Just
yeah.
really
I
great.
bet. Yeah.
I gotta say, as a small support main, sometimes I play supports that don't move a lot. Hearing like railgun charged in the background, I'm like,
You're dead.
It's over, dude.
It's over.
Cooked. I am cooked.
Yeah, I wanted Sojourn players just to feel like the fantasy, hero fantasy that we were trying to make for Sojourn. And like I really like, my favorite little detail is like when she does her charge shot, like if you after you do the charge shot and you move, you can kind of see like the rings around the projectile. Like it just feels really nice. Like I love pinks and I love blues. Like, so this was, the color palette for this kit was just like super fun for me. And it was
A very
fun to push.
techie magical girl almost.
Almost
kind of
techie
feel.
magical girl. a
Techie
little bit.
Or
magical-
cyberpunk.
Yeah, cyberpunk techie
Yeah.
magical girl.
Yeah.
Who's just a cool
Yeah,
soldier.
something else I changed was when she slides, her slide ability. So if you like want to slide around the map, and it would be, yeah. So like if you want to keep, you can look down too when you're sliding. That's going to be the easiest way to be able to tell. But I ended up changing like quite a bit of it. Like it's also just as graphic. I have like the same, like the ring textures on the muzzle flash. Like those are also on the slide. It's almost like they're charging up like as she's sliding.
It's hard to see here, but in third person, it looks awesome.
Yeah. The slide is funny because like I think players don't even really notice the slide because of just the way that the camera
quick,
is,
yeah.
the way the animation's set up. Like you don't really see it that much, but it does for us. Like it doesn't matter if you see it a lot or not. Like it's one of those fun things that we like to do for the players that will notice and they're like, oh my god, this got changed.
Yeah.
Which I think it's cool that we're doing these kinds of things because there's sometimes a lot of stuff that we make and we work on that we would love for players to notice, but sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, like
A few
it's
people do.
Yeah, a few people do. Which shout out to those people. But like these little things I just love seeing. We share a lot of progress of Mythics and stuff on channels, and it's always us. Since we stare at this all day for weeks, for months, it's like, oh, like this little tiny little things change, which I love. I have a question, Angelica, actually.
Yes.
So when you work on such a big change for effects, are the effects on first person and third person different, or are they kind of like the same thing?
Very good question. So
Thank you.
So yes and no. First person. So they are sometimes like they are pretty much the same 1-to-1. However, third person can differ from first person. Some elements in Sojourn's third person aren't in her first person in her ult because it would just be too busy on screen. So remember when I said that we try to keep the shooting space, like this view, as clean as possible because we want you to see what you're shooting. So we have to really balance what we decide to keep as like with our effects and like how busy we want that to be. But we can get away with having some of those busier elements in third person because in third person, like it doesn't really obscure your vision or disrupt your playing. But yeah, so yes and no. A lot of the times, if it is 1-to-1, the third person VFX are bigger. So that way players, your friendly team can see it happening.
Yeah, it telegraphs it better.
It telegraphs it better.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to think of what else.
Something interesting, just in general, of almost all of our heroes is that in first person, what you see of your character is different than what you would see in third person.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes when you are looking, when you are looking somewhere, like you're looking straight ahead towards the reticle or whatever you're aiming, you want whatever your character is holding as a weapon to kind of also make your eyes follow that direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Sojourn's weapon is aimed towards the middle, right?
Yeah.
But then we have other characters that, like, we were talking about a bunch of characters earlier, but maybe they have their weapon kind of aimed here in first person, but then maybe in third person they have it so that they have a more clear silhouette, right? So like following silhouette even on big changes on first person and also third person is pretty important. Was there any other like specific call outs that you had to make, Angelica, on the VFX to make sure that, I don't know, that they weren't too bright or too loud?
I would say like I was allowed to go pretty loud with this. I mean, you can tell with
Just
the
go
gun,
crazy.
it's just super glowy. Like, because like I said, there's a fine line now between like how much we want to push it versus how much we need to keep for gameplay purposes. I think a good example of that actually is Juno's hyper beam. So in Juno's view,
Mythic Juno.
Mythic Juno, sorry, yeah, Doki Watch Juno, and
Shout out Doki Watch.
her hyper beam, the middle is pink. It's just like this really girly pop, like magical pink yellow beam. But we got feedback from gameplay from Alec Dawson, as you all know.
Shout out Alec.
He was like, hey, so for the other people on the team, Juno's hyper ring, her hyper beam needs to be blue to show that it's giving you I think it's damage boost, or like
I think it's like healing and damage boost.
Yeah, and so we call it like 3P remote is what your team is seeing, whereas like first person and third person local is what you, the hero, are seeing, like you, the player. So in 3P remote, I ended up changing the hyper beam to have a bluish purple tint instead of a pink and yellow tint. So that's something that I had to keep in mind, because that is such a big gameplay read that, but we were able to compromise. Like Juno sees it, and that's all that matters. Like the fantasy is Juno. In this case, I would say that the thing that I would have to go back to the damage grenade, because originally I didn't have a lot of the elements going inwards anymore. Whereas the original base grenade, like everything's going inwards. It's like it's pulling you in and damaging you when you go into it. And so I had to keep some of those elements still. And when I was making it, and I kind of got away with it by like scrolling the noise inwards. So like
that's cool.
So there's like a like this shell, like this cloudy noise shell that when you throw the grenade, like I have that scrolling inwards still. The motes, like I said, the little square bits are like also like they're going up, but some of them I think are going in. And then also the decal on the ground, I have it like squishing in as well, just to kind of help keep that gameplay read that was in the base. So it's it just depends.
And when you're finalizing VFX and you're dealing with how bright or dark, like you mentioned, for gameplay reasons, do you jump around to various maps with different time of day? And
we do, yeah. So it's kind of a fun running joke, because me and a few other of the VFX artists like to work in Sunset Rome.
Okay. Yes.
And we'll stay in there. And the problem with that is that like you need to test your effects on other maps, but like Sunset Rome is like looks so good.
It's like
Yeah, it's such a beautiful map.
It makes everything look so good.
I want to live there, kind of.
And so if we want to be like, oh wow, we did such a great job, we go to a nighttime map, like any nighttime map. Like Sojourn shines at night. If we want to cry, we go to Ilios, or any other bright map, because, or you know, even the Toronto map behind us.
Even the Toronto.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but super, super bright. And so when that happens, we need to adjust a little bit and just find a good middle ground.
Because like what works on one map has to work on like everywhere else, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and like of course there's going to be some discrepancies. Like I don't mean to bring it back to Doki Watch Juno, but she's just shout out Doki Watch. She just has a lot of good examples of this rather than Sojourn, where like some of Mythic Juno's effects were like really bright yellow, and like it had this beautiful like yellow ochre gold, and like, you know, the more like Sunset Rome, but on Ilios, it's just bright yellow. And I couldn't fix that. Like, there's just no fixing that. It's yellow.
It looks nice everywhere else. So,
yeah.
You know, maybe.
So, you know, you win some, you lose some, but that's okay. But.
Yeah, because that's a part many may not realize that, but gameplay first is something that we think about a lot even when creating art. So VFX is kind of an extension of the UI. It teaches the players what's dangerous, what's safe. Am I using this ability? Has it exhausted? When has it refreshed? So these are all the things you guys are dealing with when creating the VFX. And then we ask you to make it look cool at the same time. You know?
Yeah. I think I have I have a nicer time on Mythics, because everything's already done for me. Like all the effect,
The
like all the
base
abilities
layer,
and all the
yeah.
base abilities are done. So I just get to make it look really like prettier than they already are and like,
Yeah.
fit the theme. But you know, you still have to fit gameplay into
Right.
that. But yeah, you have to juggle a lot. But honestly, it's really fun because you come up with these creative solutions, and like when you don't have a lot to work with, it's like that's when like the most fun ideas
Right.
like
Yeah.
come.
And with Mythics, that you can just change pretty much everything of her kit. You can just go crazy.
Yeah, that's what we do. We change everything because we want to make it worth it to the player, and we want you to feel cool.
Yeah,
like
dude,
Mythics are cool.
Look
Mythics
at how
are
much
awesome.
it lights up in the ult. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
no, it's very glowy. It's a glowy gun.
It's a very glowy gun.
But yeah, no, I want to also come back to us saying that, you know, we started Sojourn in October. I started Sojourn, VFX got Sojourn in March. And I was working on her for, I think, about 4 months, which is like, that was just the way that it went. Sojourn has a very complex kit.
Yeah.
And this stuff takes a while. Like I'm constantly asking for feedback every day. Everything is very iterative.
And the hero select thing too.
The
Right?
hero select took a while because of having to go back and forth with engineering and animation and like getting it to look right. Like we haven't done something like that before, which is, you run into that a lot in game development.
Kind of building the railroad as you're on the train.
You're building the railroad as you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like, you know, everything turned out great with her. Like, I'm
so
super
too.
happy with how she turned out. The team did amazing. It takes a city.
Yes,
to
literally.
make a Mythic.
It takes a city to make a city.
To make a city, yeah. But yeah.
Totally. Yeah, no, amazing. I mean, it's also good to note that every Mythic has had very different little challenges to overcome.
It's the nature of Overwatch, right?
It's the nature of Overwatch.
Nature of all games.
It's the nature of all games, really.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah, all of our characters are so different, and they are set up in such a different way that even, you know, new heroes and legacy heroes, they all have little quirks of just how they're made. It's not to say that they are set up wrong, because that is not it at all. They are set up how they were supposed to be set up. But Mythics it's kind of like you have a machine and you have all the cables connected correctly, right? And that's how it's supposed to be. When you add a Mythic to a character, you add a bunch more cables to that machine, and you have to disconnect and reconnect a bunch of cables so that it works properly. And sometimes those cables can get a little tangled up.
Yeah.
And then we need support from our engineer friends, which again, shout out engineering. Because without you guys, we would not be able to do anything.
This was not the first time I've needed engineering's help on a Mythic.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah, we have required a lot of support from our buddies. So again, I've said shout out like 15 times. I don't care. Shout out engineering.
Yes.
But yeah, maybe sometimes some Mythics take a little more time in some steps than others, just from the nature of figuring out how things work. And, you know, maybe one takes a little more time in concept, maybe one takes a little more time in modeling, maybe one needs a lot more support from, you know, the engineering and the tools team than others, just from how they're set up. And sometimes we have to go back, sometimes we have to go forward. Sometimes VFX starts a little bit before other steps do. Sometimes ideation has to go back from the, you know, maybe a tiny little bit. We try not to do that. We've, you know, streamlined the process a lot after 18 Mythics, I guess, at this point. 18 Mythics that we've released at this point. But it's always just a lot of fun, and it's always just new things to find and explore. And whenever we get the chance to do something new, like with Sojourn, we just take the chance and just go bonkers with it, just go crazy.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to highlight too with this skin specifically that I missed on when we were talking about the concept and the modeling. No hurry in this, but if we could go back to the hero gallery and we could see the 3 options of hairstyles that we have. From the beginning, when we saw like the iterations and the ideations for the concept, like the different hairstyles, I got immediately incredibly excited. You know, obviously textured hairstyle is something very near and dear to my heart. And when we get the chance to do, you know, such cool hairstyles for such a cool character like Sojourn, I was like, we have to make this, you know, the best that we could. And, you know, when we get that on the screen, I think we can go into a little more detail. Yeah, so I think the 3rd hairstyle would be like my absolute favorite. it's just so cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, Angela did an
third one.
incredible job with exploring these kinds of cool modern hairstyles for this amazing black character for Sojourn, Vivian Chase, my goat, and Megan did such an incredible job with just the model.
Shout out Megan.
Shout out Megan.
Can we
It's
rotate
so good on
this
the
one?
hair.
Yeah.
And hair is not easy to model or sculpt.
Yeah,
and she
hair.
did
Yeah,
an incredible job.
Any 3D modeler will tell you that hair is not easy at all.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. Like it's just so beautiful. And
I love the black color, the black armor. It changes her hair to white.
yeah.
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 Oh my God.
It's really cool.
Look
I
at
think
that.
this one might be my favorite colorway too,
Yeah.
which isn't usually the case with the Mythics. I like the more pinkish and like girly pop colorways, but I think this one is like my favorite. It's just so good.
Purple, black,
Yeah,
and the
it's-
white accent on the hair.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just so cool. I wanted to shout that out before going
As you
to the
should.
last step. I just love it. I really
Yeah.
like it. It's so cool.
This is fun color too.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's such a cool color too. She's just so dope. She's
She
just a
is.
cool character. Face card has never declined in her entire life. Hair, like on point. Absolutely. Like she's just so beautiful and cool.
Can I yap a little about colors?
Sure,
Real
go for
quick.
it.
When we get to this point in the process for VFX, this is the character ambient. This is usually like where like us as the artist can kind of like relax a little bit because it's ambient. Like it's the more like okay, how do I really plus this model? Like it just like add even more awesomeness to it. And this is the most fun I've had for colors, I think. I just really had such a great time trying to mix in like these pinks and blues and yellows. Like the yellow is this like really hot core of the flare, and then you have like the pink like just highlighting it, and then you go to the red colorway real quick. Like I'm a little bit of a nerd about color, and like I was able to push the purples using like these reds, like these really rich reds, like we don't usually get to do. And are we allowed to see the
I think that's all that we can see right now.
Okay. Yeah. You guys will see it.
Yeah, super
eventually.
cool.
But no, I loved doing
is
the
killer.
colors for this. It was just so much fun.
Yeah. I think then as like the second to last step technically, I don't think we can really hear
Sound design.
yes, sorry. I was trying to remember exactly what I was going to say about the sound design. I don't think we can quite hear exactly, but Brian Weirs, shout out Brian.
Shout out Brian.
Shout out Brian Weirs. Honestly, whenever I see anything that the sound designers do on like anything, I genuinely don't understand.
It's
Yeah.
black
I genuinely
magic.
don't understand how it's done. Like so many times when we get to see kind of like a little bit behind the scenes of sound design, it's like, oh yeah, like I found this like car part that was left in the
Yeah,
sidewalk,
sorry.
and then I brought it home, and then I smacked it with like this flute that I bought in Peru, and then it made this cool sci-fi
This cool
sound.
sci-fi.
Yeah, I'm like, how
Cyborg
does that
sound.
work, man? How does that work? So we do have a little video that we will be playing maybe at the end from Brian Weir, shout out Brian, that I think is going to be super cool. But I have a little blurb to kind of a little pre to what you guys will actually hear in game. So let's see. Basically, when seeing the type of light energy shown in the concept art, my mind first went to synthwave and EDM type of music. The colors and particles really made me get a tonal and musical vibe, which I wanted to shine through in the sound design. So it really was a lot of synthesizers being put through different plugins to distort them and create new, unique sounds. Wow.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of words, and it just sounds very, very incredible and super cool. She sounds so cool. Like by default, Sojourn already sounds so much cooler, and I wish I could do justice to how actually super cool and like EDM-y techy she sounds, but you'll just have to see it in game. I realize that I've said shout out to like 25 different people, so I think maybe just like this could be like the dev shout out stream. I'll just be shout out Eric. Oh no, Murphy. Shout out Murphy that fell. Shout out Eric. Shout out Dion. Shout out Angelica. Shout out Katie that's behind.
Shout out Anna.
Shout out me.
Yeah.
Shout out me.
Me,
thank
Anna
you.
Martinez.
Shout out me. Shout out the host.
Martinez show.
Yeah.
It's my show now, dude. It's my show now. That shout. Wait, let me pick up Murphy. Should I?
He's all right.
Okay.
He'll be fine.
Should be fine. But yeah, I can't really speak much of sound design because it's just a whole another thing for me. But hopefully we can show like the video at the end. And then thank you so much. She rose from the dead. Now she's here. But yeah, and the last step would be polish and QA, which is again quality assurance. Shout out QA. This step is just for pretty much every department to just go in and make sure that everything is as clean as possible. This is a stage where we go in and make sure that there's we deal with as many little bugs and little
nothing
errors.
Looks broken.
Nothing looks broken. Everything can be selectable and just looks fine. Every single department goes through like a polish and QA and just bug fix and face.
We would not have a game without QA.
We would not have a game without QA. Honestly, they saved our lives so many times throughout the years, just finding things that we would never have thought of. But so many people play the game in such different ways that we are so focused on our own departments that we would not think that, what if you slide into this wall as Sojourn, and then suddenly, if you have the Mythic skin specifically equipped, if you slide into that specific wall, then you suddenly clip through it. Why does that happen? I mean, I don't know, but they found it somehow, which, wow, that's amazing. So thank you, QA. But yeah, I think that was from the beginning to end, the art pipeline on how to make a Mythic.
Yeah, and it still feels like just a very surface level.
Yeah.
Like, we tried going as in-depth as possible, but...
there's a lot of things that we
so
can't really
much.
talk about, but there's so much.
And every Mythic is different, too.
And I love there's so many passionate people on the team that hopefully people can see how much effort by everyone on the team, but art guys, they deep dive it, they nerd it up.
We're here.
We're here. We just love to hype each other up and nerd out about art.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is, again, like I said at the beginning, why we were so excited about something like this, that we just get to sit down and talk about just art.
And we're going to share more too, right?
Yeah, we would, share more. But I think that is pretty much everything, almost everything, most things, some things that we wanted to talk about today. Now that I think we can officially approach the closing up of the stream. Anything else that you guys want to add as kind of a closing statements? Anything, well wishes or something that you just forgot to add?
Thank you for playing our game. And we hope that you enjoy and love Mythic Sojourn just as much as we do.
Same. And congrats on the team. Another Mythic in the season 18, right?
Season 18.
Season
Yeah,
18.
so
it's been 18
it's
seasons.
very fun to work on this one, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for sticking around for however long we've been talking. If you're just joining in, I'm sorry, we're wrapping up. You were kind of a little late, but hopefully you can see the replay when we're done. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for thanking me. Thank you everybody for tuning in to this live stream. We really want to make more of these, and we will be making more of these. So let us know what other topics you want us to cover. There are a lot of people that love talking about the things that they do on the team. And we would love to just sit down and chat in this way. So yeah, just let us know. Send some love to the stream. Send some love to your friendly neighborhood game developer. And I hope you have fun at playing the game and stuff.
Yeah.
So now some quick PSAs, now that we're closing up. Season 18 starts on August 26th. Sorry, just double checking. Season 18 kicks off on August 26th, and Mythic Sojourn will be available on that same day, August 26th. So look out for that. It's only a couple weeks away. Time goes by very fast.
Right.
Also, keep a lookout for tomorrow's Director's Stake from our very own Alec Dawson. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Speaking of Alec, he's going to be at EVO competing in Street Fighter this weekend.
I know a few people there too.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people. So if you see him, shout out Alec, shout out Team 4. That's going to be... Should I just stop shouting out people?
No, shout out the whole team.
Shout out Team 4, man. Honestly, shout out Team 4. Shout out Alex, who's going to be competing at Street Fighter. Best of luck. Kick butt. You're going to do great. And actually, there's going to be another live stream coming up on August 14. I think that's going to be a pretty cool one because we're going to be talking about our very new support hero, Wu Yang.
Yeah.
I think.
AKA Aqua.
AKA Aqua. If we call him Aqua, please. Sorry, we've been calling him Aqua for a really long time. We all just. As a little side note, we have code names for heroes for most of development. Usually it's like 4 words, like 4 letters internally, but we call them a certain way, and then we get kind of like the actual name once the lore is developed. And Wu Yang has been Aqua for like 80% of his life. So it's like, oh yeah, it's Aqua. So it's going to be the Aqua live stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be talking about Aqua on August 14th. So don't miss it. And I think that is it.
The audio
so.
video.
Oh yes, well the audio video will play once we are actually saying goodbye, but now I think we are done with everything that we wanted to talk about.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for watching, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Hope you guys all left nice comments. We can't read chat, so hopefully it's all nice. Hopefully it's all nice thing. But yeah, once again, thank you guys for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed today's deep dive. Let us know what you want to hear more on the next one. And on August 26th, don't forget, season 18, August 14, Aqua live stream. And that's it. And we'll see you in game.
Bye-bye.
Bye.